Yes, here we are, the last show of 2023 at the DPB show. I appreciate you. I'm going to allow a few more people to come on in. I know that this is new. We just started this literally a couple weeks ago. And so thank you for all that are tuning in. Once again, we have so much more in 2024 ahead. I'm looking forward to it. 2023, wow, what a year. I know many of you probably are feeling the same thing. I'd love to hear from you today in the chat. Thank you, Paul, for already tuning in. That is Paul Garcia of Paul Garcia Productions. Thanks, Paul, for jumping on today at the DPB show. You can find us live from 4 to 5 on Tuesdays and Thursdays at Twitter X. I got to get accustomed to calling it X. That's what it is. Rumble. Now, I will tell you today, I'm having a little difficulty getting the Rumble channel to load. So we are on YouTube, X, and Facebook for today, the last show of 2023. I will get the adjustments made for Rumble. My trusty tech support is on vacation. So, hey, everybody needs some time off. That would be none other than Kat Peterson. You know, I have a kind of a neat story before we get into what lies ahead in 2024 and kind of what the recapping of what 2023 was all about and what 2024 is going to look at like, because that's how we're going to pivot. We're going to pivot right off of 2023 into 2024, hence the title of More in 2024. But I started telling you, Kat Peterson, I lean into her to do a lot of the tech support. Now that we have this new studio that we broadcast from or podcast from, I also utilize my friend Paul Garcia. You can see a video of Paul and I setting up the studio here if you go down to our Facebook page at the DPB show. But Kat's on a much needed vacation, so I didn't want to disturb her. I wasn't going to press in too hard when I encountered some difficulties getting the Rumble channel to load. But I am going to get it mastered. I shared that with you. You know, we're just getting started. The best is yet to come. And as I've always said, the worst is yet to come. That's human nature. We can't escape it. Um, it is it's in our face every day. I know you experience that. I experience it. But once again, I'd love to hear your experiences of 2023. I'm going to share some of the highlights, some of the pitfalls of 2023, and how that is going to really springboard us into 2024. So, with no further ado, once again, I appreciate you always tuning in here at the DPB show, whether that be Twitter, Facebook, or Rumble, YouTube. Um, 2023, wow. Who would have ever thought that 2023, the year that it was fast forward, right? We came out of 2022, the gubernatorial election here in the state of Illinois, uh, and also the election for Secretary of State, Attorney General, you know, landslide victories on the side of the Democrats, which, you know, we know that that's always going to be the case until we fix what's broken in Illinois. Mostly what's broken in Illinois is our electoral process through the Illinois State Board of Elections, which was founded by Judicial Watch and Thomas Fitton in the lawsuit that he filed on behalf of Carol Davis and the Illinois Conservative Union and David Smith of Illinois Family Institute, that there are over 800,000 inactive voters on the voter rolls in Illinois. 800,000. The irony of that is, and you've heard me talk about this many times, if we don't fix that, we're never going to fix the elections in Illinois. In fact, some people would go as far as to say all the elections in Illinois are fixed because of the 800,000. As I have said in the past, you know, when you have a gubernatorial race in 4 consecutive election cycles, 2010, 2014, 2018, and 2022, where the Republicans received 1.7 million votes. All 4 election cycles, 1.7 million. Now they vary, by a few thousand, maybe 10 or 20,000 votes. And then you contrast that with the Democrat side. Pat Quinn in 2014 had 1.6 million, 89,000 votes. He lost to Governor Rauner. That was the first election that Rauner was running for governor. But he ended up, Rauner did, with 1.7 million, Pat Quinn 1.6 million, 89,000, as I said. Now, you fast forward 4 years, just 4 years, from 2014 to 2018, and J.B. Pritzker, taking on incumbent Bruce Rauner, receives 2.5 million. Now, let's do the math. It's, I'm not mathematically inclined, but I know enough to be dangerous, right? Most of us do. Pat Quinn, 1.6 million, almost 1.7 million. JB, 2.5 million. The difference between 2014 and 2018 was about 800,000 ballots, 800,000 votes, only to come and find out in 2023 through this Judicial Watch lawsuit that the Illinois State Board of Elections is sitting on over 800,000 inactive voters on our voter rolls. Folks, if we don't get that right, we're never going to get the elections of Illinois right. And speaking of elections, I know many of you have probably already heard that that we are now looking at having President Trump still on the ballot in Colorado. Hold on, I got a quick message here. Yes, I like to follow. Okay, got it. Paul Garcia. Thanks, Paul, for the message. See, I have to multitask because I don't have in-studio support as I did in my previous place of employment. But, I'm going to work through it. But as I was saying, many of you might have already heard that the Secretary of State of Colorado has gone ahead and decided to keep, her name is Jenna Griswold, not of the Griswold Christmas of Chevy Chase Christmas Vacation, but Jenna Griswold, the Colorado Secretary of State, is going to allow President Trump to remain on the ballot. Why is this critical? Most of you might know that this election season is basically upon us. Iowa is days away from their caucus. Here in Illinois, we have to submit petitions on behalf of President Trump by January 4th. That's just next week. You have from January 4th to January 5th to get all of the delegate petitions for each congressional district, plus the presidential petitions submitted to the Illinois State Board of Elections. That is next week. Well, that's similar to most states around the country. Colorado, the deadline for the ballot is January 5th. Which the irony of it is that's one day ahead of the anniversary of what many on the left will call the insurrection of January 6th. But January 5th is the deadline. So Colorado, Jenna Griswold, I don't know what led to her decision. I haven't really looked up into it that much, but I know it just came online. She has decided to just go against what the Supreme Court of the state of Colorado has ruled, and she is going to allow Trump to remain, especially pending what the decision of the United States Supreme Court is. I am pretty certain, without question, that the United States Supreme Court is going to throw out the Illinois or the Colorado Supreme Court decision. Little faux pas there, because I was reading earlier about the United States Supreme Court throwing out the law that was passed by Kwame Raoul and J.B. Pritzker in regards to basically limiting access to people in pregnancy resource centers in Illinois and trying to make that unconstitutional in some form. But obviously that was thrown out. I digress a little bit, but that is the case that is before the Supreme Court right now, is the Colorado ballot access for President Trump. Based on a trumped up charge of insurrection, which he has never been formally charged of. Insurrection is not a crime that Trump has ever been indicted for, has never been charged for. Even Jack Smith uh, has not brought charges of insurrection against President Donald J. Trump. But so that's the good news. Once again, it's the only state out there right now that has ruled through their Supreme Court to have Trump removed from the ballot. I think right now it's 35-1 is the current tally of states that have tried to do the same thing. The interesting backstory to that is I didn't realize that this was really being pushed by an activist, a liberal progressive activist group on the left, that has gone after Trump out of Colorado for years. This was a play that they made. Um, this was what they were determined to do. As you can see, I just welcome it. I love the fact that they keep doing these same things over and over again, and all it does is just pick up the tempo, the speed, the rhythm of the Trump campaign. It is no secret, I'm a Trump supporter. I also am going to be on the ballot here in Illinois as a Trump delegate, as an alternate delegate for President Donald J. Trump. Um, on March 19th, granted, early voting starts much ahead of that. 40 days ahead of March 19th is when early voting starts here in Illinois. So I encourage you to go out and be a part of the electoral process. Do we like it? No, we just don't. We can never accept that it should be uh, standard operating procedures to have the election season here in Illinois or in any other state. We also can't accept that they have 14 days of adjudication after voting day comes and goes. We also can't continue to accept that everyone should be allowed a vote by mail ballot. That just opens it up for the craziness that we see. I just reported to you that 800,000 ballots were the difference between 2014 and 2018. I just find that unconscionable that people, reasonable people, can't sit back and say, wow. Now, the interesting thing is JB Pritzker lost over 300,000 votes, moving from 2018 to 2022 against Darren Bailey. Now, granted, he did realize 500,000 more votes than Darren Bailey. Darren Bailey ended up with the same amount of votes that Rauner had in 2 election cycles, and Bill Brady in 2010. Bill Brady narrowly lost that election to Pat Quinn by something like 32,000 votes. I think Pat Quinn had 1.7 million, 65,000, and Bill Brady was at like 1.7 million, 32,000, so roughly 33,000 votes separated the two candidates. The point being, though, the Republicans have never been able to breach 1.8 million votes. Now, the reason I bring that up is because we came out of that election in 2022, the gubernatorial race in Illinois, which just spawned a lot of craziness. We already knew the sanctuary state status was going to remain in force. Now, could a Governor Darren Bailey have done something to pause that? By all means, he could have totally wiped out most of the agency positions. He could have restructured the Illinois State Board of Elections, but Illinois State Board of Education, and on and on and on. That didn't happen. So what happened in contrast was a second term of J.B. Pritzker, which led to an influx of everything, whether it dealt with the reproductive rights or the abortion rights. JB doubled down on that. Sanctuary state status, JB doubled down on that. Gun bans, JB doubled down on that in 2023. We knew most of that was coming. That was what was at stake in 2022 with a Darren Bailey campaign. He knew what he was up against with JB. This is what we are feeling are the effects. We saw JB's means of governing through COVID. He issued executive order after executive order, 48 consecutive executive orders. No other governor in the United States of America had as many executive orders. We were one of the last states to finally come out of a state of emergency. Um, so we knew that going into 2023, and we saw that exercised over and over again through the Pritzker administration with his henchmen or sidekicks of Kwame Raoul, who is the attorney general, who truly should be representing both the state and the people of the state of Illinois. That is his constitutional responsibility. Unfortunately, we know that not to be the case, as we see on a grander scale at the national level the weaponizing of agencies, the policing state, or I should say, the police state of the national government is truly starting to devolve in the state of Illinois. So we get that. We've seen what has transpired in Illinois. We continue to see this decline as President Donald Trump has said so eloquently. We are a nation in decline. The state of Illinois continues to be a clown car in warp speed in reverse. It's not gaining any traction. In fact, I've seen Brandon Johnson, the mayor of Chicago, has gained a lot of headlines lately because he is pleading with President Joe Biden to offer up federal grants for the crisis. He calls it a crisis that is happening in the city of Chicago due to the influx of illegal immigrants coming in from the southern border. Um, but all of this in totality is going to continue to happen into 2024. There is nothing we can do to stop it. Even with there being an election year in 2024, there is not an election year for governor in the state of Illinois in 2024. All we will be doing is electing new Congress people. We will be electing state reps, state senators, county board members. So we do need to make a difference and get out and vote. As I was saying, early voting in Illinois will start in February. I mean, it's hard to believe that right now we are on the threshold of another election season, which as they're gearing up, they have been exercising some of their methodology for this new cycle because what worked in 2020 has been exposed. Therefore, they're going to have to double down and look at manufacturing themselves again. Right, uh, the same playbook is they're going to use a lot of the same plays. There's no question about it. But I think they have been exploring and really reaching into the legal warfare, and that's where I think they believe the headway is going to be made. They love to tie up our judicial system. They love to weaponize our judicial system. That is being that's evidenced in Colorado right now. Is whatever group was able to activate those four justices or judges, not justices, but judges on the Illinois or Colorado State Supreme Court, to have them make a decision which no one in their right mind would have believed that the 14th Amendment as presented was going to hold water in Colorado and that President Trump wasn't going to be on the ballot. I just laughed at it because it's just another one of those examples of continuing to try to gain an advantage without with putting yourself in a disadvantage. And that's what they've done. Uh, Thankfully, because that's the process. It works. Even in the midst of corruption, even in the midst of brokenness, it shows you that the United States, the Constitution that we adhere to, it works. It works. It's timeless. We can lean on the Constitution. We know that the document itself has withstood so much more. And I say that because a lot of people out there don't realize how how critical it is to have a document such as the Constitution, and that is the essence of where we're at. I do see some commenters, and I want to get to that, but before I do, once again appreciate all of you tuning in to the podcast here live on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 4 to 5. We are just getting started. At the DPB show, you have to put in at sign the DPB show on all of those platforms, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, X, YouTube, or Rumble. And I do apologize. Rumble is not online today because of yours truly is still perfecting his abilities to manipulate the podcast world. I do get a lot of help. My tech support happens to be on vacation, but I do want to get to some of your comments. I so appreciate you tuning in. So, real quick, let me jump over here. I did see something interesting. Nathan, thanks for being here today. Yes, this is critical. Paper ballots only with legal identification. Thank you, Nathan. That is critical. Nathan, you also said this one is a real possibility. There will not be a 2024 election. Many people are saying that. This is part of the more in 2024. As much as we want more in 2024, so does the left. The progressive left wants more in 2024, and they're really moving towards that. And as far as the comment, will there be an election in 2024? If you're trying to remove your political opponent from the ballot through legal warfare, I like that rather than lawfare. I don't think most people can really grasp what lawfare is, but legal warfare, they're utilizing the legal system, the judicial system, to open up war against a political opponent, namely Donald J. Trump. But it's just not Donald Trump. They have put into motion, what we used to refer to here in Illinois as the Democrat machine. The Democrat machine is a mere resemblance of what it is now. They have built the transformer of all transformers. They have transformed. They've continued to move the needle as a political party. I don't admire them, but I have to show respect because we have to respect our opponents, our enemies, because they come to kill, steal, and destroy. That's evidence. That's what they want to do. So, Nathan, your comment is well taken because they don't want there to be an election. In fact, many people on the left have come out and actually said the quiet part out loud and made that statement that they would rather have an artificial intelligence means of selecting our candidates for office. Now, if that doesn't scare you, it should. However, getting back to what has transpired in 2023, now we are here on the threshold of 2024. What has happened in 2023 that we can really look back to? Some of the unplanned things. My wife and I were talking about this, and I do see that she's in on the show today. Thank you, as always, to have the support of a loving wife to be part of this process. We don't quite, I think, grasp all of the amazing miracles, the wonderful things that take place in the course of a year. My life reflects that. I'd love to hear about your miracles, some of the unplanned miracles, the unplanned events that you would have looked back and said, wow, I never saw that coming. I never anticipated that God would put this together the way he did. He is ultimately the creator of all things, and all means all. It's amazing how he weaves. No matter what we believe is the future for our lives, and not to say we don't plan and we don't make plans, but we also have to be flexible to the extent that God plans where things go. He is the great planner. He's the great creator. And so unplanned events that have happened during 2023, I think they're numerous. One of the things I believe on the political side of things, unplanned, is through this process of them going after through the legal means or legal channels, whether that is the weaponizing of the Department of Justice, the FBI, whatever it might be, they have laid their cards down. They had something to hide. They were going to be exposed. Well, through that process of bringing charges against Trump, bringing charges here in Illinois on so many different issues like the gun ban, they have opened themselves up to the Constitution. And going into 2024, this is going to be our greatest tool. This is going to be the the glue, the cement that holds us together. Because ultimately, they can't overstep this. They can try, and granted, they do. They don't heed the Constitution. They don't respect the Constitution. In fact, according to Mark Levin in his new book, Democrats Hate America, I truly do believe that in some cases, the progressive movement of the Democrat Party, the left-leaning socialist Marxist movement of the Democrat Party, they do not find favor in what we believe as Americans, the American way. There's a reason they call it the American dream throughout the world. What other country can proclaim that people from all walks of life, from every corner of the earth, want to come to their country? In fact, they're willing to do it at great risk, right? That's what's happening on our southern border. What's going on there is beyond an invasion. It is pure domestic terrorism. It's being controlled by the cartels. Mexico was never out of line when Trump was president. In fact, Trump basically, called them to a higher purpose. He showed them that they too could benefit by cooperating and unifying with the United States, created an agreement between Canada, rewrote the agreement that formerly exists between Canada and Mexico to put in place a better agreement, one that was mutually beneficial to all parties. I believe that true too is going to be the reality again. Unfortunately, there's going to be a lot of cleanup on aisle 4 and aisle 5 and aisle 6. In fact, every aisle of the United States is going to need to be cleaned up. We are going to do that in 2024. I truly believe. That's why I am long on what's going to happen here in Illinois, why I'm long on what's going to happen throughout the rest of the country, because all of this has been exposed. These people have shown us who they are. That is going to be something that, well, trust me on that. I ask you, let's see how it works out. I do believe, though, there is a chance that they're going to try to disrupt the election in 2024, and it's just going to be one of the things we have to contend with. They have laid out their plan. I'm going to get this. Someone needs to find out why Pritzker's family is on the Epstein flight logs. Yeah, I mean these are all questions I think that are going to come to light in 2024. I think you're going to see more of that on the federal level. I think some of those questions will be answered as we go into this election year. You can run and you can hide, but all lies will be revealed. We're told that over and over again through scripture, that all of this is brought to a head in the light. And that is the beautiful thing about 2023. It was a year of truly shining the light on into the darkness. And did it get dark? Oh my gosh. I don't know about you, and I'd love to hear your experiences. A lot of darkness. It's one of the things, like I said, that keeps me long because I'm hopeful. I'm I'm resilient. I shared with you a little bit about my upbringing, and the family life, having 4 brothers and 1 sister, fairly large family, not a huge family by any means, but a large family, and all of the stuff and the craziness and that we dealt with just as a family, especially at the holiday season. I can't help but think about the dysfunction of life. And that's not a negative on my family. I love my family. In fact, I just was over before I came into studio here. I was having a little beef brisket with my brother John. He had prepared that last night, and so I told him, well, he was supposed to prepare it for our family Christmas on Tuesday night. He awoke a little late and was not able to get that prepared. We had to settle with ham and turkey rather than brisket and turkey. Yours truly made the turkey, but I spent a little time with his family. There's nothing like it. We have God, family, and hard work, God, family, and country, God, family, and friends, God, family, and everything. You know, this time of the year, it does let us truly lean in to what is out there. And I get it. Not everybody has a family that gets together. And that's where we need to get better too going into 2024. I want more in 2024 for everyone. I want more for my family. I want to see more people in my network of people, those people that I believe that I have influence over. I want to see them to grow deeper and deeper in their relationship and love for Jesus Christ. That's one of my goals for 2024. More Jesus, right? More love. Jesus is love. More Jesus, more love, more power. That's where the power comes from, is love. And I'd like that to be demonstrated in every aspect of our lives. Now, is it going to be easy? Is it going to come back to our public school systems, to our state government, to our federal government, to entertainment, to Hollywood, to sporting events? I'm seeing glimmers of hope that that is going to return in all those areas. I think after a year where constantly parents were showing up at these school board meetings and confronting these boards, and I mean confronting them, and that by no means, I mean, you look at the totality of all the different um, school board meetings across the country. They were confrontations, demonstrations. Yes, there were unfortunately times when people got out of hand, but for the most part, it was parents standing up and demanding their rights for their children. And I think you're going to continue to see that going forward in 2024. I think you're going to also see that more parents will be removing their children from public school systems. As I said, I have not been bashful about it at all. That you need to get your kids out of the public school system yesterday. They cannot stay in there right now as it exists. The public school system is in such it's a burning building. You wouldn't allow your child knowingly to continue to be in a burning building without going in and rescuing them. And that's where they're at. They're in a burning building and their lives are at stake. Uh, I don't know what it will take for you to do that. I understand it creates a lot of challenges to homeschool, to find co-ops, to find private school systems. A school choice, obviously, being taken off the docket here in Illinois. It has affected many families. But at this point, these times demand that we rise above the occasion. I want to be part of that change. I think it's the only way we're going to truly get the attention of the teachers unions who basically control our public school system. That's where we have the spirit of indoctrination. They just fly in the face of everything. They don't care even if parents stand up and demand a different direction amongst the curriculum. They don't care. They're going to push their agenda. They've shown us what their agenda is. They have demonstrated what they're willing to do. They've lied over and over again. You remember at first they couldn't admit that they were teaching CRT because of course CRT is a master's level course at Harvard University or some other bowl. Um, but then they changed the name of it to DEI, and they just kept, moving the needle and changing, the shell game, right? And finally, they just admitted, yes, we're doing this. We're doing all of it. We're over sexualizing your children. We know what's best for them. If they believe that they're they're a different gender than what they currently were born as, then we know best because we're educators. Educators know more than anybody. We understand, the longevity of the consequences of not allowing this person, this human, to identify as whatever that might be. So that is going to be more in 2024. And I might sound a little conflicted here, but I'm trying to just give you the both sides of the story. Both sides are, as we want more in 2024, coming out of 2023, they want more. They're not going to stop. The left, the progressive left, hence the word progressivism. Progression and progressives means that's what that means, is they are going to continue to progress and to reach and to go. As much as we have seen, we're going to see more. As I've said, the best is yet to come, especially amongst us who want more in 2024 for our families. They want more in 2024 for their families slash ideology narratives. They want to continue to move the needle. They believe that America is not the land of the free, the home of the brave, the greatest country on the face of this earth. They don't believe in exceptionalism. That doesn't mean that we're better than another country. It means we're exceptional because we do it differently. But that's what they believe and what we believe. And those things are going to collide. You know, I can't help but think about the Marvel movie Civil War, Captain America, Iron Man at the end of it. That's the kind of conflict we have right now. That's the kind of budding that we're facing going into 2024. Now, granted, as it continues to play itself out, I don't believe the Democrats truly have a candidate to put up for president. Um, I don't believe Biden is going to be their nominee. I'm kind of anxious to see what exactly transpires, which gets back to Nathan's point. Will there even be an election in 2024, Nathan? That's why I believe there might not be an election, because what are they willing to do? They have demonstrated over and over again that they're willing to do anything to disrupt the American way, the way that we have so established for over 250 years. We have demonstrated that this Constitution is timeless, but it's timeless not because of the document, as important as it is in the Declaration of Independence, because of the people. They have started to change hearts and minds. That's what they did through the indoctrination process of the K through 12 schools. And not only the K through 12, I was just reading here on my my handheld brain. My handheld brain was telling me that there is a professor, and I don't think he was the president. Fact check me on this if you need to. The president of the University of Wisconsin, or a professor, he and his wife were creating content on a cooking show for OnlyFans. It was basically pornography on our college campuses. You talk about a place of higher learning. What kind of learning is that when all it has done is created or put itself in a position of what we would see in the red light districts in some of the big cities throughout our country? That's higher education. That's academics. You know, it always seems to me that the one thing that continues to be lost throughout time, and this has proven itself over and over again, until we return to the values of what makes America great and exceptional, which is our belief and our trust in God. Our currency says it. We trust in God. Without God, in our school systems, in entertainment, in government, a total abolishment of our creator, the founder of our country, the founder of the way that we exist here in the United States of America. Without that, how can we truly exist? And I think more and more of you, I know it, I see it, I hear it, are waking up to that fact, and I know that there are many of you that used to listen to me on the local radio station. And I do have to digress because this is 2023, something that did happen in 2023. That my show on the local radio station was canceled, and many of you have told me over and over again how much you enjoyed my radio broadcast. I hope that many of you will continue to find your way to these live podcasts here on Rumble, YouTube, X, and Facebook at the DPB Show. That is at sign the DPB Show. But I know that many of you really truly enjoyed tuning in on Sundays from 1 to 3. And many of you found me on the weekdays with my good friend, Kat Peterson, on the Morning Buzz. I enjoyed that. And I know many of you have told me personally that you enjoyed it. In fact, you thought Kat's show was at its best when the two of us were on. And I think that we both feel the same thing. Kat was on my first live show from this studio. She was on a shared screen. I was able to do that. Kat has given me some of the tools that I need to do those things, but she spent the entire show with me, a whole hour. And it was really just so natural because, you know, our conversations from a perspective of someone who's a lot younger than me, she's the age of my daughters. In fact, my wife and I consider her our Bloomington Normal daughter. With her fiance, Brian. Obviously, they are newly engaged and will be wed here in 2024. So when you talk about more in 2024, Kat and Brian are going to have a lot more in 2024. But it was really natural. There was such a good sharing of ideas. Kat is so intense when it comes to getting down, really digging deep into the nitty gritty. I saw her do this with Congressman Rodney Davis and Congressman Darren LaHood at different events, and those guys at some point were almost like, wow. And this is back when she was just out of the box with conservative talk radio at 22 years of age. She really would get into their cages, and it was a cage match, and you could see the wrestling, and she would not back down. She would basically go after them and demand that they give answers that they were uncomfortable giving, and she would capture that. And I know that that has led to some of them avoiding her at times. I wanted to call her show Cornered by Kat, because that said it all, because she put them in such a position. And that's some of her brilliance. And that's why I truly enjoyed always joining her on the morning show. I know many of you enjoyed us being on the morning show, and we're going to make that happen. Hopefully, we're going to do more of that. The two of us, I think we do have a good relationship when it comes to politics and our understanding and our beliefs, especially our faith system. It's no secret that Kat and Brian, my wife and I, all attend the same church, the Tabernacle. Always invite you to come and join us if you are in the central Illinois area, close to Normal. It is in West Normal on West Hovey. The Tabernacle, we have one time for service. That's Sundays at 10 a.m. Please, every Sunday, come and join us, Pastor Timothy James Farrell. You can still catch him on the radio station. In fact, I'll give him a shout out. It is called The Abundant Life. I'm sorry, The Victorious Life. The Abundant Life is my friend Pastor Charles down at the Abundant Life that serves our marginalized and homeless community here in Bloomington Normal. But Victorious Life with Pastor Timothy James Farrell, we are just wrapping up a series called Israel, Ishmael, and Emmanuel. Look forward to how he wraps up the year. It is his last time to preach in 2023, as it has been my last opportunity to do the DPDB show. The DPB show. See, I got that out. Hold on. I think I need a little hydration here because the pipes are getting a little moist. I am recovering. Thank you. I know many of you have reached out with prayers and gratitude and hope for my recovery. I am back on the mend. This time last week, as I sat here on camera, I was not feeling it. Wow. I had been run over, but I couldn't let myself go down. I just couldn't bring myself to lie down because I knew that family, God, family, and my daughter, Cassidy, or my daughters, Cassidy and Hannah, were coming to town. My daughter, Hannah, was going to sing at the Tabernacle on Christmas Eve at the candlelight service last Sunday. And I knew we were going to sing together. And I already kind of sensed that neither one of us was going to be in good form. We both, 6 hours apart, came down with something very similar. We had a version of the flu of some sort, cold and flu. I know it's rampant out there. Take precautions. A lot of D3. I always pump the vitamins D3, zinc, and vitamin C. I used a lot with Thermaflu. I had emergency water. And one of the things I've learned is that it always helps when you're drinking a gallon of water that you put a little bit, and just 1 granular or 2 granulars per 8 ounce of water of sea salt, and a good sea salt or a Himalayan salt. That's what I'm using right now, a pink Himalayan salt. It makes the difference. It creates the balance of the minerals in the water. Um, I don't understand the science behind it. You're going to have to go into Level Up and get a cup of coffee from my friend Noah. By all means, please go into Level Up and get a cup of coffee from my friend Noah and ask him about it. He can tell you all about drinking a little bit of just a granular salt with your water. But anyhow, I'm in much better form than I was last Thursday. And so is Hannah. My daughter Cassidy came to town. Family came to town. I wasn't going to allow myself family from up north, family from around central Illinois visited, especially at church. And I wasn't going to allow myself to be down. I couldn't do that. But I'm here today, a week removed, right? And I'm back at it. I'm feeling better. I hope that it's coming across that I'm feeling better. I do appreciate, once again, all of you. The chat is so important. I'd love to hear about your 2023 and what you see as 2024 and how we can come together. One of my plans of going forward in 2024 is, I know what really I enjoyed on the radio side of things. It was having guests. As much as I enjoy talking to you directly, I love having others involved. As I just said earlier, Kat and I, you play off of each other. It is so unbelievable to have another person on the air with you or online with you and communicating and really questioning one another and asking questions and exploring what lies out there. I find it fascinating what some people hold inside of their heads and just getting to the bottom of some of the issues that we are confronted with, all of us. It's it to me it's uplifting. So that is a big plan of 2024. I'm starting to line up guests. I've got one in particular. I met with him yesterday. He used to be the former pastor of the First Assemblies of God. He has a website out there, and I want to give a shout out to his website. It's called thepointofcrisis.com, a point of crisis. I want to make sure that I indeed have that correct here. But he's going to be a guest. It's Pastor David. Right now he's a chaplain over in Peoria, but I'm looking forward to having his insight on his life and what has happened. I don't want to give away too much of his story. You can go out to a point of crisis and do some exploration for yourself. We have candidate season coming up, so we do have some contested races. I plan on having Regan Deering. She is the candidate for the state representative seat in the 88th state rep district. Her opponent, or I should say she is the opponent, there's two candidates, Chuck Erickson and Regan Deering. I hope to have both of them on the DPB show as we kind of look into their ideas and how they're going to best represent the people of the 88th district. And the list goes on. My friend Stephanie Trussell has already committed to being part of the DPB show going forward in 2024, more in 2024, and so many more. You know, I know that Darren Bailey has said that he is as busy as he is trying to win that congressional seat down in the 12th congressional district of Illinois. He is taking on a establishment Republican who most of the establishment Republicans say he's a conservative, but that's what most establishment Republicans claim. They lay claim to being conservatives, and really their voting record does not show that they vote as a conservative. They campaign as a conservative, and there's definitely a difference in how we campaign and how we truly go and represent the people, because ultimately they work for us. We don't work for them. So a lot of things planned for 2024. I didn't realize I was going to try to keep this short today because it is the end of 2023, a year that has gone so quickly, and yet so many things have transpired. And I know they have for you too, unplanned, right? Who would have thunk it? Who would have seen it coming? Where we've gone, and where we're going to continue to go. Keep your eyes and your hearts focused on the only thing that really matters, and that is our one true God, our relationship with Jesus Christ, and how ultimately the reward that we have through salvation is the reconciliation in heaven, where heaven and earth come together, and we have the eternal reward that goes beyond our wildest imaginations and dreams. What lies ahead, we can't even begin to fathom. So let's keep that in sight in 2024. When it comes to 2023, let us marvel, let us learn, let us know that our past doesn't define our future. I know somebody out there and probably needs to hear that. I've had plenty of mistakes and plenty of setbacks in 2023. But at the same time, I've had many doors open for 2024. This being one of them, you being one of them. So I think that's where I'm going to go ahead and end it. As always, I love having my peace mug here, because I think this is a season of Christmas peace. For those of you who keep up with this, this is the fourth day of Christmas. 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. Tomorrow will be 5 golden rings, the 5th day of Christmas. I love celebrating the 12 days of Christmas. It's something that I've done since I was a young person. I found that fascinating. I hope that you're still living the Christmas season. But most of all, I bid you Christmas peace, because there is no peace without Christ. Christ is the Prince of Peace, and he is coming back. I guarantee it. So until next Tuesday, I wish you guys a very happy new year. And we're going to come back in 2024 and continue this conversation of more in 2024. Hey, peace be with you. I love you. And we look forward to seeing you on Tuesday.